Welcome back, everybody, to the Freelance Network Podcast, a podcast by content creators for content creators. So today, I am Luke Miller,
I am Cassie Dowdy.
and we have a very special guest, Joe Gibbs.
The juice.
The Juice, yes.
Yeah, bro.
Thank you for being here, Joe. Yes. So it's a funny story how me and Joe met, because I was told when I got this job at Stockton that there was somebody here who does a podcast, and he's very motivated, and he wants to record all the time. You good? And I was like, okay, I want to meet this guy.
Yeah.
So then one day you just walk into the office and you're like, yo, who are you? Just like the most bubbly, energetic greeting I've ever seen. Because
cool.
usually that's how I am. So it's
Right.
like weird to see another person like it. And then we just got to talking. I didn't realize it was the guy who wanted to do podcasts and stuff. And then you're like, yo, can I record an episode of my podcast? I'm like, oh, you're Joe. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So we just kind of got rolling from there. You showed me how to use all this gear. And then that's kind of where we're at now. And that's how we know how to use this gear. So
Yeah, that's true. Barely.
barely. I mean,
you guys do a great job. Your levels seem to be good. Everything's plugged up. You don't have a dead baby up here, so I mean.
yeah, you're right.
That makes me feel good.
Yeah.
We're excelling because we don't have a dead baby.
It's not hard, you know.
Yeah. So just a little bit of background for people watching. Joe, what kind of stuff do you make?
I make podcasts. I make small videos, music videos. Just content, man. I just put out content as much as I can. So, I mean, I just try to do anything. I mean, I try new things all the time. So that's pretty much what I make. I mean,
Well, what's your big project, though?
my biggest part is the podcast, of course. Like
Yeah, well, what's it called? You got to plug
It's
it for
called,
everybody.
Of course, Rawoj. You know what I'm saying? I shoot it once a week. It's on YouTube at eye.juice.ent. Subscribe, follow, comment, like, you know.
Take advantage of this.
Yeah,
Plug it.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's my big project. And then I have smaller formats that I'm working on too. So long form is my forte, but short form is definitely something I work with too.
Yeah. So then where did you get your idea for Rawoj? Like, what made you want to start that up?
I talk. I don't shut the hell up at all. So I mean, I like talking, and then just a plethora of places. I mean, from Bill Burr, Joe Rogan, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Bill Cosby. Sorry.
Whoops.
Yeah, but I mean, just guys who have had long form shows and were the content creators. Those were my inspirations growing up. As a kid, I always wanted to be either on SportsCenter or like most kids want to be that player. I want to be the guy talking about the player. I mean, I don't have to do the practicing. I don't have to do all the hard work. I could just sit in the studio and just talk about it and be passionate about something. So that's where all my inspiration came from.
So you would consider Rawoj sort of like a talk show, late night talk show format, or
It would be more like of a free form where it's just like it's a little mix of talk show, but also a mix of like dormitory talk, and also a mix of like just everyday topics, you know, things that people don't say out loud, you know, and it ranges, you know, from aliens to politics. However, like whatever's going on current, and then you have a conspiracy theories, you know, things that people can't really speak about on syndicated networks. I try to talk about it on Rawoj because my premise is keep it raw. So that's pretty much where I got the name from. So, yeah.
Cool.
I mean, so like when you were coming up with a topic, I'm assuming you just saw like there was a niche in the market for just like things that you really couldn't.
Yeah. What I saw was like if you ever watch a syndicated show, they have to stick to certain things. And whenever they get off topic, they have to switch back to it. I always seen the opportunity. I'm like, it's not really shows on the air, one, like this, and number two, podcasts, or anybody can make a podcast. And as you've seen, it's been blowing up. I mean, just alone, this last year has been like probably over 150,000 podcasts to hit the ground running and be semi-successful. So it's a way for me to actually get out and be able to do that and control my own content. So that was like something I wanted to do. I wanted to be in control, I guess, yeah. So
That's awesome.
Yeah. So you're kind of recent into getting into all this stuff, like learning how to use the gear, just kind of in this realm. So like for somebody that's not making any content, doesn't know the first thing about it, I mean, you're pretty new. So what would you say to them as like advice? Because I feel like a big thing is a lot of people are like, I don't know how to use the gear. I don't know how to get the gear. It's too expensive. But meanwhile, it's not like you own this stuff. Like, just talk a little bit about like how you went about starting your show.
So I started. I came up with the idea in January of this year. Well, the idea kind of went back to November, and it was kind of something I was toying around with, and I was like, "Can I do this?" And I didn't know about this area yet, and then I ran into a guy named Kadar. Kadar was the previous guy here.
Yeah, shout out to Kadar. We miss him.
Awesome. And then once I ran into him, he showed me the studio. Like, you can come up here anytime. Now, usually when somebody tells you, "Oh, come at any time," or "I'll help you out," or "I'll be there if you need anything," you take it as a grain of salt. I'm like, "Oh, thanks," and then go about your day. I actually took it literal, and I was like, "Fuck it," every time. So Christmas break was coming up, so I got up here and just seeing how things worked. And then January, I put a plan together. I'm like, "Fuck it, let me just put it together. Let me see where I can go with this." And the more I started putting the plan together, the more I seen that my plans kept getting pushed back. So I'm like, you know what? It'd be easier if I just jump in. And that's what I did. So one day I came up here, and I didn't have all my equipment. I was still buying stuff. And Kadar showed me how he sets up if I want to shoot a podcast. And then he showed me how to work the audio. And he showed me how to work the camera. But he was really doing it in the beginning. He showed me a couple things. But I wasn't really picking it up as fast as I had liked. So he would like set up everything for me, show me how it works. And then from there, I just started like picking up little stuff, little by little. And I wasn't afraid to ask for help. Like, if you want to start something, you can't be afraid to ask for help because nobody does it alone. People may say, "Oh, I'm self-made," but no one's self-made. You had someone help you along the way. Unless you sat in your basement and blew up off that alone and you were by yourself, then that's the definition of self-made. But everybody has somewhere along the line gotten help. So I wasn't afraid to ask for help, and I just jumped off. So that's just how I got into it. And then all summer, while everybody was out enjoying the summer, I was here shooting episodes and learning how to work it. Because I knew Kadar, his time here was finite. So I knew that I would have to do this alone starting in September. So I got in here as much as possible over the summertime. And I just picked up. It was like taking the summer class almost on top of the classes I was already taking in the summer. So I was like, let me just get in here. And it's something I was passionate about. And took off from there. And now I'm helping other people. So it kind of came full circle for me in a way in like less than 9 months. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how I got started.
Yeah. So where do you want, because like obviously like right now you're in school, right, but like where do you see yourself ending up, like if like a career you'd like to get to?
If I had my way, like she said, I'd lay in the bed all day and money would just generate up music.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I would get recorded just to be me.
Yeah.
But I don't have the likeness yet. Well, I have it, but I'm just not popular.
People just don't know it yet.
Yeah, I have it. I just don't have it.
You got that personality, though.
Yeah, we have a star here, and nobody just knows yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I would want to be a director. I mean, they control almost everything. I mean, executive producer, then it's the director, because the producer produces the budget. So, under that person, 'cause I don't want to put my money out and take risks like that. I'd rather just be a director. I know I'm getting paid.
You'd rather other people's money.
Yeah, you got it. Right. So a director is something I want to see, but I also want to keep generating content. That's what I was looking for. Whether I get paid for it or not, it's just something I'm passionate about. So if Rawoj can blow up and make tons of thousands of dollars, awesome. If it never goes anywhere, I still create it because it's something I'm passionate about. I mean, if I could just keep putting it's therapeutic, You have to admit, doing this is therapeutic. Getting it off your chest, just the feeling of being of accomplishing something once you're done, and then you put it out and you edit it and it hits the web. I don't care if it gets one view. It's like I did that, and that's something that I never want to lose. So my end goal would be just to not stop. There would be no end goal. Mm-hmm. I mean, the sky would be the limit for me. So, yeah, that's the best way I can sum up that question.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever do like in studio like live work like with the equipment, or are you more just like control the narrative kind of person?
So I do the least amount of editing as possible. So everything is raw.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't mind editing if I have to, but I want it I want to be as transparent as possible.
Mm.
So if I'm sitting here saying something, I don't want to edit it out, make me sound like I'm smarter or more polished. No, I want it to come out how it is. Now, I've shot in live podcasts. It didn't go as well as I had liked. And, you know, you take that in the beginnings and you make that for what it is. I mean, I prefer to shoot offline. That way I can go back and add whatever I need to add, whether it be opening sequence, graphics, whatever I need to add, I can add. So that way it's a better product. But as far as like the form and the talking, I don't really touch it too much. I just cut off the beginning from when I start live, like, and then I cut off the end when we finish. But other than that, everything's raw. I mean, I prefer to keep it that way because not many, even podcasts today that you see, polished podcasts aren't raw. They're all, oh, let me edit this out to make me sound better. What if somebody hears me say this, you know? I'd rather be raw and then live with the consequences. You got to live in your truth. I mean, you're not going to make everybody happy. Someone's going to be hurt. So if you just live your truth, you can't really worry about what comes from that. So I prefer to do it that way.
Okay. But also another question I had, I don't know if you've done any internships or anything. If you have, I was just curious of what kind of like fields or like what part of the field that you interned in, and like if you liked it, or if even Stockton has something here that's like what you want to do.
Stockton does have something here. They have a television production program where you can intern with Joel Ludovich and Mike and Jordan downstairs, and that's awesome. It's just going to conflict with my schedule, so I'm not going to do that. I'm currently enrolled in, I want to say, just the name has changed like 4 times since I've been in it, with Toby Rosenthal. It's an internship, basically, a magazine, because every time I say newsletter, it's not that anymore. So I'm doing that now where you write up articles about comm, and that's something I wanted to get into because I wanted to get more on the hands-on, tangible writing side, and just getting, because I love writing and I don't mind it, and I like being creative when I write. So that was like a no-brainer for me, picking that internship up, and it's definitely been an experience. Definitely been something I'm not used to.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that's a good thing to keep yourself on your toes and try new
for
things.
for sure. And like I would love to do like a journalism internship. And I'm pretty sure they have that here, and I know they have the Argo and other stuff that you can get involved in. But those are the 2 so far that like caught my eye. The one I'm in and the one that just doesn't mesh with my schedule.
I know. Well, I did that internship last semester, and it was difficult to get used to because you know it's late at night, but it's just because the talent and the producer and everything, they have 9-to-5 jobs, so they have to come after work, unfortunately.
Gotcha.
But it is definitely like a good, like if you ever have the wiggle room to like put it in your schedule, it's definitely worth it. But yeah, no, I mean the internship that Toby does, I heard, is like very very intricate. And
it's definitely different. It's definitely something like you can't just show up.
Yeah.
You know, think you're gonna get credit. You actually have to participate in that. And then I am in Joel's TV class, so I'm learning some. Probably not as hands-on as the internship would be, because you get more time, of course. But I'm in the class, and I've learned quite a bit, and that's why I always wanted to be a director. But once I got the chance to be a director of certain projects, I knew for sure that I wasn't wrong. This is something I definitely
like validating it.
Yeah, just like, and then like I'm not tooting my own horn, but when I was better half of my class, I was like, yeah, this is definitely something I could just pick up on. And I know how particular I am about things, and how perfect I want things to be, and the way I want it to be. And that's something I think you have to be as a director. You can't be indecisive. You can't be wavering. You have to know what you want, how you want it, and then execute it. And I think that's something I've picked up with that class as well. So I wish I could have did the internship though.
Yeah. It's definitely worth it, but
yeah,
I know it's hard for people, and I feel bad because they genuinely like need people.
Yeah.
But it's just at such an inconvenient time that most people
the 2 nights a week.
Yeah.
But it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah. So since you kind of like directing and stuff in a way like Rawoj, that like you are the director, even though it's you and
I'm
one or two other
I'm
people.
literally everything.
Exactly.
For that. The director, the lighting,
Because
the
like
audio,
that's the thing too.
everything.
Yeah. So like with Raw OJ, like where do you want to take it from here? Like I know you're very much so about going with the flow, but like if you have any ideas that you want to bring it to, like or just new things you want to try, like
I
what
would
are you
love to
thinking?
expand it. I mean, to like, if I can get, more money, I guess, I can definitely make it better. And I can definitely have someone like a Jamie, for the Jamie is Joe Rogan. I can have one of those to myself, I no disrespect to Jamie, but I mean, that's what I would like. I would like to grow it. I would like to, hopefully have that turn into something bigger. But if it never does, I'm absolutely content with that as well. I mean, it is what it is. Maybe it's just something for me to build a resume off of. I don't know, but I would love to see it flourish and become something like a Joe Rogan or something like a Bill Burr or any of those beautiful podcast pioneers. I would love to be on those levels where people are talking about me amongst their circles, but you just keep putting the work in, keep your head down, and don't quit, and you never know where you'll end up at. So
You have another project going on that's kind of like a miniature version of Raw OJ, right?
yeah, it's so what I'm doing now is it's called JesusFive, and I'm shooting like interviews, like a 2 to 5 minute interview, and I get B-roll of what that person's doing, and then I just interview, and then it's not like I'm asking them the questions on camera, but you hear their responses, so it's almost like an intimate conversation with someone without ever speaking back. You never say anything to them, but they're just they're opening up to you. And I thought that was something interesting because it's not something you see every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't seen that in many places. I mean, that was my plan, to have somebody talk about what they love. And it's like a short promo for that person. But at the same time, it's also content.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was something I came up with, and I was like, let me just start executing it. And then I started it. And I haven't been able to do as much as I like because, school's in the way. And if I had more time to just focus on that, I would probably have a million of those things up. But it's all a work in progress. You do what you can when you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just simply what it is.
Because you said that you're not going to roll them out yet. You want to have like a couple done first.
Yeah, I'm looking for like either December or January time frame where I can just start rolling them out and then just dropping them as I do them. But I mean, finding willing and cooperative guests is also a challenge too because a lot of people are camera shy.
Oh yeah,
they don't want to be on the camera. They don't want to talk into the mic.
And they almost become a different person when the camera's turned on.
Right,
too,
right.
Which is like the opposite of what you want from people.
Exactly. So I mean, that's something I'm also working on. It's other things I have in the mix. I just have to plan it out and then find time. Time is I want to say fleeting. It's hard to get. It's difficult to come by, I should say. I don't know a better word for that, but when you have the time, you have to take the time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
When you waste the time and you're looking back and you didn't do it, it's like shit,
Yeah.
So it's just like that's also a hurdle, and I'll overcome it. I mean, I just gotta keep doing it.
Yeah.
So.
And then, I mean, I feel like every week when you record Raw OJ afterwards, we have a conversation that's pretty much a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
That we're just not recording.
Yeah, but I also think that could be something,
Yeah.
Like an intimate conversation. I think that's something as well because I mean, I feel like we bounce ideas off each other. I feel like we learn from one another.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that's what you look to do when you meet people, when you grow. I mean, if you're not growing every day, you're essentially wasting time. Even if you're growing in the most minuscule way, you're still growing. I think going backwards or going forward is always better than being stagnant. Because if you go backwards, you know what you have to do to go forward. If you're going forward, you're not standing still. But once you start standing still and just being content, then I think you're not leaving room to grow. So I always think that's something you get from other people.
Yeah.
When you talk to them, when you get to know them, of course, like what they like, what they don't like, who that person is. That's something that's I can't really put into words. Because,
Yeah.
like, it's human nature. Like, that's what humankind is here for, to learn from one another, to see our differences but respect it at the same time. You know, I'm not trying to make you me, you're not trying to make me you, but we understand where we're coming from. And that's just something I think is lost on humankind. Well,
Yeah.
I think Americans, I can't really speak for the rest of the world, but it's something that we don't want to take for granted, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like part of it too is like finding people who build you up,
Yeah.
you know? Because like obviously like we didn't know each other a month ago or 2 months ago.
Right.
And then now we're hanging out every single week talking about our podcasts
For
and like
sure.
how we want to grow them and stuff. And like the positive energy that you spread to me, I brought to her and Will
Right.
starting this podcast. So it's like a ripple effect, you know?
And that's how it should be. I mean, and I would look forward to somebody else starting a podcast based off you, and then
Exactly.
so on
yeah.
and so forth. Because, I mean, if you inspire somebody else, you've already inspired 4 more people. You know what I'm saying? Because whoever that person tells, once they get inspired. It's like learning something new. When you learn something new, you can't wait to go tell somebody what you learned. And once they learn something new, okay, you tell 3 people, those 3 people tell 3 other people. Hey, so you went from 1 to 3 to 9. Already you're at almost 15, 16 people. Once it starts even growing, it's infectious. So, I mean, but that's positivity
Exactly.
in itself. It's infectious. And I think people are inclined to look at the negative and get attached to it, but I think positivity is what keeps us all together, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I mean, you gotta love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
you know?
And I feel like it's cool that like in a way like our podcast is shouting out people who create stuff, and like you helped kind of inspire me to even think of the idea, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but that's teamwork, man. You
Yeah.
know? And I hope that you inspire more people. And I'm not a person who wants to keep everything to myself, because that's not what happiness is. We've had these conversations. Happiness is within other people.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with people finding happiness is they're always looking for happiness from within, when happiness is standing in front of you every day. You have an opportunity every day to help somebody. I don't know even if you're just putting a smile on their face, you're helping that person. So I think that's happiness. 'Cause I don't know how you feel when I make somebody else smile. It makes me feel good. When I do something positive, if I donate something to someone, or I give my time, or I give my money, I feel good. And you can't tell me that's just me, because if that was the case, we wouldn't have charities, wouldn't have.
Yeah.
You feel good when you help someone else. And I think that's where happiness lies, in other people, not in clothes, money, and all the other good stuff. It's within other people. And if you can help other people, I guarantee you feel some type of happiness.
And I feel like too, your podcast gives people a place where they can feel comfortable and open up and talk about things.
Yeah,
And that's like another way of spreading happiness through people too,
for
which is
sure.
really cool.
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what you want to create. You want a forum where people can feel comfortable, where they don't have to feel like they're subscribing to one ideology. You know what I'm saying? You're not subscribing to one closed-minded person, or their views, I should say, or their point of view. You want to where they can come in and be like, I agree with that, and I don't agree with that, and then that's fine.
And that's cool. Yeah.
You know, that's what you want. You don't want, this is what it is, and this is how it has to be, and if you don't like it, kick rocks. You don't want that. That's toxic, man.
Yeah.
And it's not positive. So it's definitely something.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I can say that like having an open mindset like that like is what makes someone successful. There's like a lot of people that just like aren't open to doing new things because they're not comfortable, and that's kind of just like makes you're pretty much self-ruining yourself. I mean, yeah.
I concur.
Yeah. So being open to like when Luke came to me and he was like, "Oh, we're gonna do a podcast," I like didn't even ask what it was about. I was like, "All right, cool.
Meanwhile,
what can we do?"
Meanwhile, a year ago, if I told Cassie she had to be on camera, she would be like, "I'd rather not." Like it'd be like the last thing she wants to do.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I never saw myself as like on camera talent or just like a host of anything. I was always that person that was like behind the camera. I'm like, I'm just gonna add to other people's stuff because like I didn't think I had anything to add to
Yeah.
production. So
But you're a natural now.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I try. I mean, I'm still like not used to being on camera, but I mean, this is
You
like
can't
more.
tell.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, no. I mean, I'm, it's a comfortable setting to just like
Yeah.
sit and just have a conversation with someone, and you might as well just add a camera to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 Because it's like it could help somebody. You know,
Yeah.
like just listening to this. Like I mean, it's like it's just like a podcast, but also like anything any of us could say could turn somebody's day around.
Yeah,
You know.
it can flip anything. And like she said, doing, like y'all both said, doing new things. I mean, if you don't get the same results by doing something new because it's something new. And if you want to do something you've never done or go somewhere you've never been, you got to do things you've never done. That's just simple. If you want to reach heights, you got to do new things. You don't get anywhere going to doing the same thing. You're going to be exactly where you are. And I think that's something that's just like instrumental to anything. You can apply that to anything in life.
Yeah.
And I think it applies.
Yeah. Especially like content creating. Like
Yeah.
just new doors open every day. Like I mean, you never know what's gonna happen. And like I didn't think like 3 months ago in like August, I didn't think I'd be doing a podcast and wasn't even on my radar. You know.
Yeah.
And like I didn't know you yet. I mean, I knew you, but like neither of us were thinking like, yeah, we're gonna be doing a podcast soon.
Nah,
Like,
I thought I was just gonna skate through the semester and get my degree and be like, all right, I'm out.
Mhm.
But
now I have you in here and we're doing work all the time.
yeah, no, it's definitely, and like having like even just like these things on like resumes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like people are like, wow, you actually like do something other than go to class.
Yeah.
So it's like beneficial, like not only just like for us as humans, but it's beneficial for your career. So like, why not take that step for people to like look at you and be like, wow, this person has initiative and they're really going for it. So
That's sweet. And it's not work.
it's not.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, it's stress relieving. I mean, granted, it's work, but it's
Yeah.
not easy. But it doesn't feel like work when you're passionate about it.
Exactly.
You're doing something you love to do, and then once you start doing it, it's like, oh, I did 1. I think I could do 3. I did 3. I think I could do 7. I could do 7. I think I could do 11. And it's just something like you just keep growing. Like, and I think that's dope. How neither of you expected to be doing this 3 months ago, and here you are.
Yeah.
You know, just successfully doing it. I think that says something about both of you. Like whether you know it or not, that's just something about each of you. Like you're willing to take a chance and take a leap of faith, and I think that's what life's about. I mean, because if it never goes anywhere, if it does, you always have. Like I tell Luke all the time, you go back to your grandchildren and be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, if you look on the YouTube, I'll be there." You know,
Yeah.
if you look at this, this was me. I did this when I was in school.
Yep.
And you may never know what you expect. I mean, what you expect, what you spark
Yeah.
in the next generation or somebody next to you. So that's just something like,
It's just a cool feeling.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And like you said, like finishing an episode it's a great feeling seeing
Yeah.
it. And even if it's just one person, it's like, yo, like we'll get Instagram DMs from people like, we really are enjoying your podcast. Like that means a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
thank you for supporting. I know the
Exactly.
feeling,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's just something, I mean, like you said, completing it is everything, man.
Yeah.
You don't get that feeling just sitting in the room scrolling on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. You don't get that feeling doing nothing. You get that feeling by getting out there and doing things that you like to do and then completing it.
Yeah.
I think the biggest issue that people have when they don't want to like take that leap is they're just afraid of failure. How do you handle failure?
I love failure. Believe it or not, I love it. Failure is, I don't get where I am without failure. I mean, and it sounds cliche. It sounds, everybody says failure. No, I love failure. I failed so many times in life you wouldn't believe it. I failed my first time going to college. I didn't flunk out of school, but I didn't finish it my first 4 years. Is that failure to some people? No, to me it is because, you know, I watched a lot of my friends graduate, and to me that was a failure. But at the same time, I take a leap in another field. I went to the military. You know what I'm saying? And I failed there a couple times. I mean, you don't get strong from success. I mean, it sounds crazy, but you don't. If I take one jump shot and I make it, that doesn't make me a great player. You know, if I throw one touchdown, that doesn't make me the greatest ever. What makes me great is seeing adversity, facing it, and coming back a better person than I was the first time. and that's just failure in itself. I mean, you gotta be afraid sometimes. You gotta be afraid. But that's natural.
But you would consider the word failure as like
A lesson.
a lesson. For example, I failed at something recently.
Mm-hmm.
I went for an internship and I didn't get it. And I put on Facebook that I failed, but it's okay. And I have bigger and better things coming. And I took it like that. But a lot of people came back at me and said, don't consider it a failure. You didn't fail. But I did.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to say I failed at something, but I'm moving on. And I took it as a lesson. And here I am.
Yeah.
I know you were one of the people that were like,
yeah, that
don't.
was such a subtweet.
Yeah. No,
Well, I was just trying to
people.
cheer you up.
Yeah, no, I know. It's like, but I did, and I'm going to admit it.
Yeah.
But it's not something to be ashamed about.
But you know what I commend about that? It's very admirable. You addressed it. A lot of people won't address their failures. Because if you ever look on social media, Facebook, it's all highlights. All highlights. Oh, look at me. I'm doing this. Nobody ever shows their lowlights. For you to be able to be as admirable and strong as you are to just address it and be like, look, I failed. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how many people can, relate to that. And like, you know what? Yeah, if she can fail and come back and take it in stride, I can too. You know what I'm saying? And a wise man said, a loss ain't a loss, it's a lesson. You know what I'm saying? And appreciate the pain, it's a blessing. You know, it's beauty in that struggle. When you don't get it, it makes you that much more hungry, and it creates a better you. So everything that doesn't come your way or fall your way, it always sets you up to be a better person. And you don't see it that way because that's something you really wanted. And not you, but I'm just saying in general. Yeah. That's something you really wanted, so it's like, oh, I lost it. But you never know, that very next thing could be the bigger, better thing. You know what I'm saying? But that loss, that failure sets you up for that. Because without that, you wouldn't have been prepared for what's coming next.
Exactly.
You know, getting up off that ground is something that we all are faced with. Because it's not what happens to you, it's how you react to it.
Yeah.
You probably hear it all the time, but it's the very truth. You know, count your wins, don't count your losses. I tell Luke that at least 5 times since I met him.
So many times.
You gotta count your wins.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, you lose all the time.
Yeah.
But think about how many times you win in a day. Think about that Chick-fil-A sandwich you had. You know, think about that's a win.
Yeah.
Think about that sushi you're about to get. That's a win.
Yeah.
A little precursor. Joe walked in with Chick-fil-A and sushis before we started.
Yeah, but think about your drive here or your walk here. Nothing bad happened. That's a win. Your tires didn't burst. How many people you drive by on the side of the highway that's broken down every day?
Exactly.
That's a loss for them, but that's a win for you because you got to your destination. But we don't count that as people. We always count the losses. And I think if more people can adopt a mindset like you to address it, like, look, I did this, I didn't work out, but I'm still moving. I think that builds a better person than somebody who takes the loss and then lets it drown them. That doesn't make a better person. If anything, that makes you worse off because next time it comes up, you're going to be apprehensive or less willing or reluctant to take that chance again. Whereas if you address it, understand it, and then the chance comes up again, you jump at it again, you'll be way more equipped, to get what you're looking for. So I think that's awesome. To me, that's a success story in itself.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, one of the ways that I've learned to handle and cope with failure is you just have to celebrate the little wins in between.
Yeah.
There was for example, for what I'm referring to is I applied for Jimmy Fallon's internship.
Okay.
And I was given an interview, and there were 40,000 applicants, and most applicants don't even get their resume looked at, but they looked at mine. They wanted me to interview. They thought that I was qualified enough. I took that and I was like, I may not have made it past the first interview, but they looked at my resume and they thought I would have been a good fit. So I'm going to take that as I made it.
And count the W's.
Yeah.
I think that's what life's about. Literally, that's what life's about. Because 40,000 people apply. You mean tell me that you were interviewed out of 40,000 people? You know how astounding that is? Excuse me, I'm sorry. You know how like amazing it is. I wish I can go in a room full of 40,000 people and be singled out, even to be looked at. Like, I'm walking home like they look at me. It's like going to a game and catching a baseball out of, I don't know, 17,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
But you caught the baseball. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you said. That's amazing to me. Like you may look at it as a loss for 40,000 people, and your resume got pulled, and you got the interview. Not only did they get it pulled, but they contacted you for the rest. Like what? Yeah. You wouldn't really tell me nothing. I didn't get it, but I was contacted. You know?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's pretty cool. And
40,000. That's a lot. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's a small town.
It is. Yeah. So, I don't know. I just like I took that as the win, and when I put like on Facebook like that, you know, I failed at this. People thought I was like self-pitying. And I wasn't. I was just saying like I'm.
Yeah, but everybody addresses their failures in different ways. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The way I address my failure is, I failed. Let me get right back to it. You know, some people address it like you. Some people don't address it at all. You know, that's just something. How you cope with it is different. You know what I'm saying? But as long as you cope with it and come back, as long as you don't just lay down, I think that says everything about a person. You know. So I mean, congrats. I think that's pretty dope.
Thank you.
I never even thought I wouldn't even see me. I wouldn't even have thought I could even put put my stuff down. I mean, he's not gonna look at me. And here you are, you taking a leap of faith. And that's just something like, to me, that's admirable. I don't know if anyone else told you that, but that's pretty dope.
Thank you. Yeah. No, I mean, we just found out right before we filmed this that we have the same editing class. Our professor. Farina, she came to me like the first week of school. Yeah. And she was like, I was thinking about you last week. And I was like, why? And she was like, I had a dream and I prayed for you that you were going to get this Jimmy Fallon internship. And like, I was like, okay, maybe I should actually get on this. So like the support, like that kind of stuff, kind of just like, you know,
yeah, it's funny because she came to me last semester. I had her for media aesthetics. And I was like one of the only kids that actually participated and paid attention to what she said, because people don't take her serious because her teacher method is a little unorthodox.
If you listen to what she's saying, there's so much there.
So many jewels. Absolutely. Like I've learned. So like I don't even watch movies the same anymore. Like I don't even like I can't watch movies the same anymore because I'm seeing so many different things in movies that I've never would have looked for if it wasn't for her. But she told me I should apply for the internship with Jordan Peele. And I applied for it. I didn't get called back. I didn't get interviewed, certainly, but I applied for it.
Still something. You still went for it.
Yeah.
There's so many people that thought about it and were like, maybe I could do that or I want to do that, but they didn't take that leap of faith.
I tried. I mean, I didn't get called back, but I mean, I tried. And I just thought, like, that's so sweet because she's a dope person, first of all. And the fact that she's done that for somebody else is just amazing to me. Like,
and there's a ton more stories like that too with her.
Yeah, she's passionate. She's like, she believes in you. You know, you just gotta believe in yourself. She gives you that confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great too because she is so successful. Yeah. And like you can take, you know, praise from someone and they won't be. I mean, I take any advice, anything from anybody. I don't care who they are.
Because you can always learn something.
You can always learn something. But when it comes from someone that was as successful as she is, like an award-winning Hollywood director, like it means double. So yeah, like I just feel so bad that like people, like students, don't take her as seriously as they should.
That's how I see
it's
it.
their
well,
loss.
we're all gaining from it because we know there's something
there. It's your loss.
Yeah.
And the way I see it is, if you look at, people always say what they want. I want to do this. I want to do that, and they put it out in the universe, and the universe responds every time. You know, whether you believe in God or however you believe it comes to you, it comes to you. But it doesn't come to you in the way you think it's going to. It's not going to just be placed in front of you like, oh, here's $1 million.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
No, it comes to you in a form of opportunity. And everyone will say, oh, I want to be this, I want to be that. The opportunity's right there, and she's one of the opportunities, like, that's placed in front of you. And if you're not taking advantage of those opportunities placed in front of you, like, this is the opportunity. Whether people believe it or not, SSTV, though it's small, you know, though it's a very secluded medium from the school, it's still opportunity where anyone can come in and join. And if you want to put a project together and pitch it, you can, and it work. I know because I've done it. You guys done it. But it's an opportunity. You never know. Somebody might come across your podcast one day and be like, holy shit, we got to put them on Sirius Radio. Holy shit, we got to get them a bigger audience. Like, you just never know what's going to happen. But when you take those opportunities for granted, it's never going to come to you. So you get something, oh, I never got the chance. No, the chances are always placed in front of you, always, every day. You know what I'm saying? You got a chance to run from the police when you get pulled over. You got a chance to pull over. Every day, that's just on a small scale. On a larger scale, was that way too. And that's how I feel. And it's always there. And if you're not taking advantage of things like Farina that's placed in front of you to do major things, you're never going to do it. You know what I'm saying? The universe tests you in different ways, and that's one of the ways to test you. It sends you a professor like that who's gonna give you leeway, but at the same time going to really teach you in
push
a way
you to be better.
Yeah, whereas other professors just get pushing you paperwork. Do this test. So she's actually going to teach you and show you what it takes to be in the industry. Mm-hmm. Whereas another professor might just give you the basics, what the book says.
Yeah.
Take those opportunities and say just learn from it.
I mean, that kind of goes back to like the positivity we were talking about, where like, I mean, I feel like every episode we kind of end up on talking about like how a teacher or a mentor has influenced us, because that's huge.
Yeah.
And it just shows that like somebody like Farina really does try to spread her positivity the same way you want to, or we want to, where we do it through podcasts, trying to get messages out there, give people voices, where she does it to her students and tries to influence them, which I think is just so cool because she's helped all of us.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so. And I think one of the biggest things too is she has always come to, at least me, I don't know if she does it to other students, like after class, and she's like, did you learn from that? Like, what can I do?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
To make it so you guys are learning.
I don't know if you ever noticed, I'm always there. I'm always the last kid there because I'm always talking to her. I like to pick her brain because, like, that's how I get inspiration. Like, maybe I'm doing this wrong. Let me see if I can fix it or tweak it.
Yeah.
And I always love
Always
that.
be open to other points of views.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, this was a great conversation.
For sure.
You know,
Absolutely.
I knew this was going to happen as soon as I was like, Joe should be on this podcast.
Yeah.
And I mean, catch me tomorrow night. Well, not tomorrow night, but
Yeah,
we're
you'll
going to
be
record it tomorrow night.
Next
but
podcast. Yeah,
next
the
podcast,
offline,
I'm going to be on
offline,
Rawoj.
yeah.
She'll be on it too eventually.
Yeah, for sure. If you want to come, you can come tomorrow if you like.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night.
But yeah, so thank you everybody for listening or watching. And one more time, plug everything where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me at Stockton campus in the cafe. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, that's true.
Nah, eye.juice.ent.
We'll have a lower third for you too.
Yeah, I got you.
On Instagram and YouTube. Those are my two handles. Subscribe, follow, like, comment. If you have any suggestions or any comments or anything you want to tell me, you can definitely do that. My personal Instagram is __juice13. Very simple. That's just my life. If you want to see
He's a great follow.
some wild adventures.
I feel like you're just in
different shit
somewhere
I do.
so different, like every week. Because like you were just in Houston, which I'm very jealous of.
Bang.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And then where were you before?
Bali before that.
Yeah, you know, Bali, just pretty casual.
Yeah, I go a lot of places.
And he'll just text me and he'll be like, yo, I can't record this week. I'm not in the country. I'm like, that's just Joe. That's Joe.
I mean, so you want to see some cool adventures and just that's a little bit of my personal life. Just follow me there. So __juice13. That's my personal. The eye.juice is definitely the more business.
Because that's where Rawoj is.
Yeah,
Eventually, JesusFive will be on there.
Right, and my other projects I got coming up, my music video will be up there soon. So just different stuff I'll produce and work on. That's where you find that. But my personal life is definitely the Juice 13. So
yeah,
it's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Of course.
I had a great time actually.
Yeah, me too.
Kind of got carried away in it.
Of course, we always do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, everybody. We hope you enjoyed it.